In commercial agriculture, farmers are completely dependent on multinational companies for their seeds and fertilizers. But in permaculture and organic farming, seeds are harvested from the soil and thus making farming sustainable.
We keep seeds from all varieties of the crops that we are growing. Mainly we are growing OPV, which means open pollinated varieties of crops. This is indigenous maize, yellow maize. We have cowpeas, also it's indigenous. We also keep pigeon pea and chili, and then we have a self-sustainable system.
Animals are an important part of permaculture. They provide manure for compost, food such as eggs and milk, and can replace machinery.
We keep livestock like goats, mainly as a source of protein and also for connecting with the system. For example, here, instead of buying a lawnmower, we have multi-function animal that cuts all the grass and also leave manure in this area. Water is so scarce in South Africa, so we try by all means to conserve water. As you see around here, we have demonstrated a number of methods. For example, ground cover with the pumpkin and the cowpeas. And also we have this method of the pipe irrigation, where we bury this pipe right to the roots of this peach tree. So we put water here, and then the water goes direct to the bottom of the tree. And then that's the best method of conserving water. And there is zero evaporation of water from this unit.
Bees and insects are extremely valuable as they pollinate flowers and control pests.
Why we keep bees is for making sure that they utilize the flowers and they produce honey for us, and they also produce medicine for us. They integrate the whole system. A small hive like this one, it can produce something like 4,000 rands a year, which is a very good income for the family because there is no much management that you apply on the bees.
South Africa has a large variety of medicinal plants that are in demand by many cultures.
Medicinal plants are also another way of making money in a permaculture system, where you are growing medicinal plants, crush them into powder and sell them as a powder to traditional healers, or encourage traditional healers to come into the system and train them into understanding the propagation methods of indigenous species. The youth, they should know that in permaculture there is abundance, and there is so much option that one can get into as long they understand the whole connectedness of these components in permaculture. Then they can be able to do something and change their lives.
Water management is vital to all agriculture. In South Africa, we haven't had a consistent supply, but not all is doom and gloom, as Kent, a permaculture designer from Kultcha, explains.
If you are going to grow anything, your first step before planting is to actually plant water. So we plant water, and once we've planted water, then plant life becomes possible and we can plant plants.
Kent's farm in the arid region of the Kultcha has always had a limited water supply.
When we bought this farm, we bought it without any water rights. It was quite a challenge for us because conventionally agriculture is practiced here by getting water off the mountain, and that is sprayed onto fields through an irrigation system. So buying this farm without any access to water really brought this whole concept of water availability and whether or not we actually have a water shortage to head. From our experience here, what we have realized unequivocally is that there isn't actually a water crisis. What we have, though, is a crisis of water catchment and water availability.
Kent and his partners developed a plan to capture as much rainfall in the high areas and push it into the ground.
Mainstream water catchment plans generally revolve around catching water in rivers. Now, in permaculture, we move away from that because water in rivers is water that's already flowed too far over the landscape and it's on its way out of the environment. And water in rivers should stay in rivers because it needs to do work there for the ecosystem. So the idea in permaculture is to try and catch the water at the highest possible point in the landscape.
To slow the water down, they dug swales across the contours which hold the water and allow it to seep into the ground. Gravity pulls it down to the food gardens and orchards where the roots suck it up.
So it brings us to this concept of a sponge. And a sponge, it absorbs, it sucks. It's not about moving across a surface, it's about catching it instantly and putting it where we need to use it.
We have seen the importance of water management on large-scale farms. Now, let's head back to the city and see how it is dealt with on small plots. Let's check it out. Siakana Bezeren Hout Park project is a food garden in the center of Jozi.
We make our plots in such a way we harvest water and we retain water. The mechanisms for retaining water are so important that we should use as little water as we can. Mulch is a ground cover. This mulch, the dry grass, we cover the soil so that it retains moisture. The grass itself prevents evaporation, which means you want water as often as you may be required to on a bare land which is not dressed. This is the dressing part, which helps preservation.
Manla believes that permaculture is not just about growing food to eat, but an economic solution that covers many levels.
If one is an entrepreneur, for one, it's a good place to be. Right now, there's a high need of produce that is needed in the world. Solar energy, architecture, there is a need for oils. Oils that are for perfumes, for household uses, detergents and so forth. And on the other hand, you can save lives. Africa is knocking on the doors of South Africa to say, hey, please do supply us with medicinal plants. And there's a shortage among the established shopping areas for continuous supply of the produce that we have, especially organic food. There's so much one can get from a food garden. There's so much. The economic value that can come out of the garden is a byproduct of the plants that you have. Spinach for one, cabbage, parsley, celery, they are made into salts. Now, after harvesting it, they cut it, they clean it, they dry it. Then after it is dry, they mix it with sea salt and we start packaging.
Youngsters from a local shelter are trained in the garden to learn how to empower themselves.
The good thing is, after 3 months or so, most of the kids who are coming from these shelters no longer come back. They have now gone back to school, they have been reunited with their parents.
Yes, I think it's a lucky thing to come here, to give us a chance like you see us. It's a lucky thing.
Another organization looking at encouraging kids to learn about permaculture is the Walter Sisulu Environmental Center in Mamelodi. Tina has been involved in the project for over 4 years.
Agriculture was seen in the past as punishment. Punishment was going to work in the garden. So there's definitely a shift and trying to encourage little ones to look at agriculture in a new light, to look at it as actually designing systems and sustainable systems.
The core principles of permaculture are put into practice all over the center to ensure that the children get to see the practical solution on water harvesting, intercropping, and the use of medicinal plants. The number of children passing through the center has increased steadily to about 9,000 pupils per year. At Rocklands Primary on the Cape Flats, a school-based project called SEED integrates education and permaculture. Project Director Lee Brown explains.
SEED is based at Rocklands Primary in Mitchell's Plain, and we believe in implementing permaculture systems at schools. The permaculture system provides a place to teach from and then also fills learners' stomachs. The aim of working at schools is to re-establish the link between the youth and their environments, so reconnecting people back to the land. By developing ecological intelligence in the leaders of the future, we are creating a sustainable future for humanity.
The Durban Botanical Gardens have also set up a window project to highlight the importance of permaculture education for the youth. Gabriel, the head facilitator, did his diploma in permaculture studies.
I think permaculture can do many things for people's lives because we can make money, we can get a healthy food, we can save even a planet. We can find some medicinal plants around the garden we can use to cure some disease. I would say the healthy food is give you a healthy mind. So we need to eat organic. So we need to know where where the food is coming from. So your food is coming from your garden. It's fresh, it's organic. People, they are dying because it's not that they are sick, it's because they don't get a healthy food. So if you can encourage people to eat healthy and just show them how it's easy to do permaculture and how it's easy to save money through the permaculture.